Build Promotion Lab at DevOps Belgium 2024, day 2. My next guest is Abdel. Welcome.
Thank you.
And hello again. Not the first time on the Build Promotion Lab. Great to have you back. So we spoke about, all right, what interesting development we can talk about that will be exciting for people to hear. And you're being with Google Cloud, obviously very Kubernetes heavy work, especially when we speak about developer advocacy and developer relations, but also like today AI is all the rage. And the thing that I didn't see a lot of discussions about is that exact combo of what AI and generative AI in general, and probably LLMs in particular, and all the co-pilots and assistants and Gemini can do for cloud native development in particular.
Yes. So it's interesting. Yesterday, one of the demos we showed in our session was actually somebody from my team wrote this demo. So so typically when we have a Google Cloud tutorial, the beginning of the tutorial is always like bash scripts for setting things up, right? I think that we're not the only one, like all cloud providers have tutorials that start this way, right? So it's usually gcloud to do like export a bunch of environment variables and then gcloud this, gcloud that, gcloud this. And so one of my colleagues actually built a GenAI app with RAG that can take that code in and generate Terraform code. So it can convert bash to Terraform. And it's RAG because one of the things he did is he actually created embeddings from a book called Terraform Best Practices. So he created, he took this book, put it into a database, and basically get the LLM to generate the first iteration of code, and then run that through the RAG app to improve it, so that the Terraform code follows the best practices, and it actually works. So like we actually have an endpoint. You can test it out. I can probably share it on Twitter later. We have an endpoint, and you can just use curl or postman, feed it some bash scripts, and it will generate Terraform for you.
Wow.
So yes, and that's actually is very good for me because I hate writing Terraform code. I really do not like writing Terraform code.
Nice. But also you don't want to write bash scripts as well.
Of course, yes.
So where is how do we move from that to our next step of not writing bash scripts as well? You mentioned all the setup. And all this setup is toil, right? I mean,
yes.
we don't want to do it. It's the same. We basically copy paste it. I don't want to do any of that.
Yes.
This is a classic usage for the language models to learn once how this should be done and then do it for us.
Yes. And so then I think that the next step in this case would be that we could take that Terraform code, or maybe starting from the bash script, and generate YAML files, and then we can use something like Crossplane to build the infrastructure. So there is this thing called KRM, Kubernetes Resource Model, which is the new, I mean, it's not new, it's existed for a while, but essentially there are tools out there that can allow you to create a Kubernetes cluster, right? You need a control plane, that's it. On that control plane, you install a bunch of CRDs and a bunch of operators, and then all your infrastructure development or infrastructure setup becomes a Kubernetes operation. So in order to create an RDS database, you write a YAML file that says database, region, blah, 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 and then you can build it this way. So one of my ideas to experiment with is actually going toward that, where you can take bash script in, because, I mean, let's face it, people like me who are coming from infrastructure, bash script is easy to write, it's horrible to maintain, right? Then from that, we can generate YAML files and then just feed that into a control plane to build the infrastructure. And this way, if you're a developer and doing development on Kubernetes, then you would set up your infrastructure the same way you would set up your app. Everything becomes a YAML file.
But I don't even want to do that. All I want to do is saying, hey, I need a database.
Yes.
And next thing I want to have is
a database.
You know what? Exactly. I don't care if it goes through creating a bash script that will generate the YAML out of it and what's not. All I want to have is a database.
I think what you're looking at is more like an assistant, right? Like a tool that hey, I want a database.
Exactly.
And so I think that the limitation of all these like assistants so far is that they tell you how you can create a database. They don't do it for you.
Yeah, but I mean, it's one step away. They will give me the bash that will generate the YAML that will generate the database. Nice. Just go ahead and do it.
Just do it for me. Yeah, I get your point. I think
in the end of the day, it's all code. There is nothing. They don't need physically carry stuff that they cannot because they don't have hands. It's all code, and if they can tell me which code to write, they can actually write code.
Yes, and they can run the code for you, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, I think that's one of the limitations still of all these tools. I think that's partially is because we don't really trust them enough. We don't trust the LLMs enough to make them execute actions on our behalf, or at least we don't trust them enough to make them execute right actions. Read actions is fine. So you have this tool, for example, called K8s GPT, which can help you debug Kubernetes using ChatGPT, but that's like read operations. It doesn't really do anything. It just like, it will read stuff from the cluster, run it through ChatGPT, and it will tell you this is what I think is broken. I think we don't really have enough trust in these tools so far to trust them enough, because they can make things up, right?
But people can mix things up as well.
Of course, yeah.
And we have a way to prevent it, and it's called testing.
Yes, yes. That will be the next step, yes.
And so the way we do it is like, hey, I'm not sure if I'm doing the right thing. So let me set up a testing environment, and then I will do the thing until the test passes and I know that I did the right thing.
Yes.
That's exactly what I want.
Yes.
Right? So I want to write the test and say, okay, this is the end result. In the end, I want database. Here is a select query that should work and return the right thing.
Yes.
Now, you stupid machine, very smart machine,
Go do this thing for
go do the thing until this query works.
Works, yeah.
Right? If you fail to set up a database in the first 500 tries, I couldn't care less.
Yes.
I will see you tomorrow morning, and I want to see this query works. This is all.
That's actually that's a very interesting way of looking at things, which is test-driven development, but with AI as like a sprinkle on top of it, essentially.
This is my dream. Now,
Okay.
I'm too lazy to start
Make it happen.
to start a startup around it, but I think whoever does it,
Yes.
gonna win.
Yes.
Because in the end of the day, really, I couldn't care less about what it does under the hood, because in the end of the day, all I need is my test to pass. It's true for code, it's true for infrastructure,
yes.
It's true for everything. Just I explain what I want to work in the end, and the machine can take as many interactions, as many tries as they want to make it happen.
I don't know why the way you are putting it, like, makes me just think Kubernetes, because Kubernetes is intent-based, right? Like, I want to explain what I want to do. That's intent.
This is perfect. That's exactly that.
I think that the limitation so far is you still have to write the YAML file. So what you want is something that generates the YAML file for you.
I don't want to. Yes, exactly. Now, YAML is an intent interface.
Yes, correct.
It's a way for us to express our intent, as long as our intents are correct.
Yes.
To express to the machine what we want to do.
Yes.
But we have better interfaces that doesn't require us sitting with the ruler and measuring the intents.
Yes.
It's called language.
Yes, 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 yes. Programming language, yes, yes.
Not a programming language.
Like a human language.
Don't close it, please. No, you cannot close it. No, they want to close our curtain.
Yes.
We're sitting here, so people, you have no idea, and unfortunately, I cannot show you. But we are sitting here at the end of the Expo Lounge and Devox, and we have these massive curtains that I open every morning to all this
Unveil.
beauty. Yes, and now they want to close it because some stupid excuse that they're going to cook lunch. No, the curtains stay open. Back to what we spoke about.
Yeah, so human language, basically,
Human
right?
language.
Like,
Human language. This is how we interact with the language models, and this is perfect to expressing our intent.
Create a database, create a pub sub, figure out login and monitoring and observability, and give me boilerplate code so I can just start writing code.
Beautiful.
That would be amazing, actually. Yes. Right. I don't know how far we are or how close we are to that yet.
But again, we check it with tests.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
I don't know if you can do it on the first try using whatever code assistant. But frankly, I don't care how many tries it
As long
takes.
as the test is written correctly.
And as long as I don't need to babysit it and say, oh yeah, you got this YAML wrong. I don't want to do it.
Don't care, yeah. Just do it.
Exactly,
Yeah.
just do it. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. Hopefully we'll get there at some point.
bright future ahead of us.
Yes.
And whoever does it gets my money for sure.
The next
and,
$1 billion startup.
you know what? I completely see it. In the end of the day, I think we have the product proposition right here.
Yes,
Right?
there you go. So
Intent-based, human language as the intent APIs and the intent interface, and then test to verify that it did the right thing.
I would be curious what's the acronym that will be used to describe this, because we have test-driven development, domain-driven development. So what would we call this? Like human language-driven development? HLDD?
Excellent. We need to go and copyright it right now, because obviously this interview is going to get viral.
Of course.
Everybody will get their ideas, and we will end up with nothing.
Yes.
So we need to copyright it right now. And Adel, I think the term sheet for our first round, we need to ask ChatGPT.
We'll use ChatGPT to write it. Yes, that's fine.
Exactly.
We'll ask Gemini to write it.
Sorry about that.
It's okay.
My mistake. Rookie mistake. Fox, that was excellent. Abdel, it was a lot of fun.
Thank you.
And if you want more of this awesomeness, stay tuned for more episodes of Build Professional Lab. We are going to be right back.